Hello.
Hello, hello everyone. We are live on YouTube on Instant Graffiti's channel. My name is Marina. I'm the co-founder of Instant Graffiti and also Aula. We say here in Brazil, WOW, Women on Walls, a program for professionalization for women artists around the world. This class is number 17 of Ipanema 2021, second edition. And today we have the honor of receiving the street artist and graffiti legend, Sandra Fabara, more known as Lady Pink. Hi, Pink. How are you today? Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This is an honor to be able to speak to your class.
And to all the girls that are watching us on YouTube as well, right? Hi! We have here today many students among us that came from graffiti and street art, but also from design, illustration, fashion industry, also from other several jobs. They are from different cities of Brazil, but we have also here two girls from Africa and also a girl from Portugal. So they are from different ages. They have different colors, experiences, but they all have in common the desire to be a better artist and stand up for their art. So to start the conversation, I am going to share my screen with some pictures of you because they are so classic and, from our friend Marta Cooper and all that time that are so special to us, is so legendary, this picture. So I want to share and I want you to talk a little bit about how did you start in the graffiti world and when this transformed from a lifestyle to a job, to a profession. Okay, so maybe you can say a little words so we can warm up.
Okay, great. So my history is pretty well known, but I'll start in the beginning. I was 15 years old, and my very first boyfriend, who was a real cutie pie, very handsome, I had him for 2 years. And he was arrested and sent to go live in Puerto Rico with family, so he was lost to me. And I tagged up his name around my middle school. And then I started high school, which I started in High School of Art and Design. And I was very talented as an artist, but I was also a rebel. I was doing graffiti a little bit. And the boys in the high school taught me how to do graffiti on the subway trains, how to master style, because, it's all about the letters and style, but it's also about knowing how to get into the subway trains, the train yards safely, how to get your paint, how to design things that you can do in the dark against the law without the police catching you. So you had to go to the right places at the right times, which meant sneaking out of my mother's house in the middle of the night and going to the worst neighborhoods of New York City by myself to meet up with my friends, to have adventures and maybe paint a subway train. And this was the whole purpose of graffiti in the beginning, was just to have fun with my friends. That there was no ulterior motive. I was not looking to have a job or to make money from it. It was just fun. But I was going to art school and I was majoring in architecture. My real father in Ecuador was an architect, and I have two brothers who are architects. So I wanted to be an architect too, but the cards were different. I was also wild and crazy, and I needed to paint large and big, beautiful walls and trains, and architecture was not for me. So this is inside my high school, the High School of Art and Design, and this is the boys' bathroom. This is what it looked like with the boy graffiti writers inside there. They tagged up everything, even the ceiling. I'm looking up at the ceiling saying, how did they get up there? And this is a photo of me at 15, 16 years old, painting the subway train. And you see I was very young, very skinny, and painting in the dark with no mask and no fear. So you learn and you train. I call graffiti boot camp for artists. It teaches you, it teaches you courage. It teaches you confidence. It teaches you how to do art even when your knees are shaking and your heart is in your throat and you're so scared you can't even do a straight line, you're shaking. But then you somehow master it. And that taught us how to be great artists for the rest of our lives. It taught us courage. It taught us no nonsense. Just get in there and do it. You know, we don't fuss around and little, oh, what should I do? What should I do? We just dive in there and we do our thing. This is a handball court in front of my mother's house, and I put my sister's names up. Again, I did this in the middle of the night. And one time I'm painting this handball court, and my mother was standing behind me, looking up and down the street to make sure that the police did not come to find me. And I thought that was great. She could have screamed at me and said, get back inside the house. But instead, she was watching my back. Very, very special for a mother. What? And this is one of my last subway trains, a top to bottom whole car. And this is something that the girls who painted graffiti in the 1970s in New York City, and there were many, many girls before me, they did not get to do this. They did not get to do a top to bottom whole car with a partner. I did this with my partner, Demo. And this was great. This was huge when it rolls across the city in color like that, and you see your piece running. There is nothing more exciting than that. Absolutely, it was very, very thrilling. Another photo of by Martha Cooper, the famous photographer, and there I am painting a subway train, and you can see the reaction of the two boys there. They never seen a girl spray paint graffiti. This was amazing to them. Their eyes are wide. They're so surprised. The girl can do this. The girl can do this. And I'm standing on 2/3 rails with electricity running through there. If I would have slipped, I would be dead. So this was very, very dangerous things to do. And many kids did die. Yeah. This was my very first painting on canvas. So I was 16 years old when I was invited to be on the subway trains, and then I was invited to be in the first gallery shows. This was 1980, at the end of 1980. There was the first show curated by Crash, who is still a good friend today. He had maybe more than 12 boys, and they felt they needed one girl. They needed a token female. The feminist movement was moving through the United States, you know, in a big way. Everybody was feeling it, even the boys. They wanted to be supportive. So Crash came to my school to find me and invite me to be in the first gallery show. How could I say no? So I was the token female all through the 1980s, the only girl painting, the only girl able to do pieces and beautiful work that can also be on trains and in galleries. And this was my first painting that I did for a show. And I still have it today, 40 years later. It's not for sale. And this was one of my first boyfriends, who was the king of graffiti, Lee. And he trained me. He trained me to do galleries and paintings and how to make it a job and how to make it a career. He had already did his thing on subway trains. He did major whole cars. He was the king of graffiti. Everybody worshiped him. He was a legend. But he would not let me go paint subway trains because I was his girlfriend, and it was very, very dangerous. Because it was dangerous, he would forbid me from going out at night to go paint trains with my friends. So I would break up with him and I would go and paint those trains. And then he would see my trains running, and he would know who I was with, where I went, that I was a bad girl. So we had a 4-year relationship on and off and on and off, and it was crazy. We're two very strong personalities, you know. So
I didn't know that was a 4-year relationship. I didn't know that. It was a long
it is a real
period.
relationship.
Yeah.
They wrote our relationship into the movie Wild Style.
Exactly. I was going to tell you that. How was to play the leading part of that, and how old were you on that time?
So I was 17 years old when we filmed that movie, 16, 17, like that. But there was so much going on. There was documentaries and films and books and traveling and concerts, and we were being treated like celebrities and gallery shows. And so nobody took the film seriously. This was just another rich white guy following us around with a film crew. You know, we rode, it was crazy. No, we didn't understand that it was going to be such a big movie. It was an independent film. They didn't have any money. It was, you know, like everything else that was going on. It was so much parties and nightclubs and painting in the subway yards, and then going to a rich person's house dressed up like a fashion plate, hanging around with Jean-Michel Basquiat and Keith Haring. And I had a conversation at 17 with Andy Warhol. So
Wow.
these experiences were priceless as a teenager. I didn't have time to finish my last year of high school. I was booked up with exhibits and traveling the world and doing interviews and films and things. There was no time for school. So I took my exam, which you could take an exam and then just finish with school and go to university if you have to. But I did not need to do that either. I already had a career. I had a job. My paintings were selling. I did not have time to rest. There was always demand for the work, demand. There's another show, another event. And this has been going on for 40 years. So I pass on my work to young people. I do big jobs and big exhibits, and I can't even, you know, mention this. The work behind me is not mine.
All right.
Let me say that.
Okay.
It isn't mine. These are my two assistants who are doing a commission job for a restaurant. So I trained the young people. I've trained them. I've launched them now to their career, and they are taking job after job after job. They're making thousands and thousands of dollars now, and they're very young, 21, 22.
Pink, I just stop sharing because I'm gonna share and stop so we can do this thing here. Just to be clear to me, so do you think that after White Style your career changed because of the movie, or not really? Or when was the turning point, do you think, as a lifestyle to a career, to a job?
Well, I started exhibiting at 16 and painting trains at the same time. I painted trains for 5 years. And then everybody has to grow up and get a job. You know, I got my own apartment, I had bills to pay, and these are the grown-up things that hit you. So suddenly you need a job and you have to work at what you love. There's no way of getting around that. Otherwise, life is just meaningless. So if all of you guys are talented and want to be artists somehow, you must make it work. Being an artist is not an easy life, but it is the gift that we have, and we must use it. It is our duty to make it work. So struggle and hustle. And by the time I was 20, I moved out of my mother's house, and then I had to start making, you know, steady money. So I tried things like working in an office for just a few weeks. I tried, you know, normal things that is expected, like things my sisters were doing. I tried to do jobs like that. That is no good. It's no good. I'm a free spirit. I had to be an artist, and I had to make it work, like I said. So by the time I was 20, 21, it was a full career, and I could not play around with the same things I did like a child by breaking the law and going into the train yards, because you get into a lot of trouble, and then you have to spend all your money on a lawyer, or you go to jail.
Yes.
You know, it's not a happy ending.
Mm-hmm. I see. Yeah, and about like White Style, you said that you guys didn't get any money from that time, because it's funny because it's a landmark of hip hop culture right now, right? And everyone sees as the start
This
point.
was the
right?
very first. This was the very first movie, Wild Style, and it was by an independent director, Charlie Ahern, the director. He is still a good friend today. Dear friend, the director. I always support the movie. Just don't make me watch it. We have a big kiss. It's terrible. But it was in different circles, you know. When in the fine arts, in the galleries, the museums, those are like the rich people. They did not go see the movie hip hop movie. That was more for young people and teenagers, you know. Our market in the fine arts, yes, sure, it all combined together and one thing made the other better. In the fine arts, in the galleries and museums, those are like the rich people don't have money. They did not go see the movie. And the people who go to the galleries and buy our paintings, which are very expensive and started expensive. So when I saw that these rich people were willing to give me all this money for the same thing I was giving away for free on a subway train, come on. It was a no-brainer that the stuff that I can do so easy, like a rock star, you know, they sing and play music so easy, and then people want to throw them so much money. They're like, okay, I'll take your money. No problem. This is easy for me to do. So my career was born.
That's amazing. And you are a reference to us till today to us, you know. So we are so happy to have you here today. I saw another interview with you where you said that you were a feminist teenager, but you didn't realize, you didn't were aware that you were a feminist, right? Because the word feminist, I mean, was not so clear by that time, right?
Right.
But you were a female artist among a community that is still dominated by men, right? And like you said, we still need to fight for equality. That's why we are doing this project here. And talking about equality of men and women in the art market, what do you think that has improved it? And what do you think that is still need to improve?
Well, in the fine arts, at the top level of the art world is still 80% white male, and the rest is women and people of color. We still have, you know, great struggle with that, but it is difficult to prove that someone is that they hate you because of your color or your gender, or is it the artwork? It's difficult to prove because art is a matter of taste. One person likes one thing, one person likes the other. It doesn't mean anything if you're a boy or a girl or a person of color. Your art has to speak and say everything, but the world is not always fair. So it isn't what you do, it's who you know. So you have to get out there and meet people and know people, and as well as your artwork has to speak for you. But we do still have a struggle. It is not equal. It is not equal. There's still more white men that do art because in a lot of households of people of color, there is not a lot of support for artists. If you have a talented young person, your parents mostly want you to be a doctor, a lawyer, or something that will make you money, a profession that will ensure that you survive well for the rest of your life. It's understandable. All parents want this. But if you have a talent and they don't support you, they don't let you go to art school, and they said, no dancing, no singing, no artwork. You have to be a lawyer. You have to make shoes like your family, something like that. You have to follow in the family footsteps and put aside your art dreams. That is why there's not that many people of color that do art, because you don't get a lot of support at home. Understandable. So, you know, I did not get support from my family when I was sneaking out the window and breaking the law and painting trains. But when I started exhibiting in galleries, my parents, they would drive my paintings to a gallery, big paintings on top of the car, tied down with rope, but they'd get my paintings there, and they would come to the gallery openings and support me. They loved their daughter, and they supported me making money and having a career, of course. But not
the crazy part.
Not the crazy.
Can you tell us a little bit about Lota, Ladies of the Arts?
I don't know why somebody included that in a biography. I tried to do a girl crew, but all the girls in the high school, they were just there to, you know, do it in books and sit on the boys' laps. None of them had any nerve to go paint subway trains. They had no courage. So I tried to start a ladies crew. I tried to empower them, but I only got one girl, Lady Heart. an African-American girl who was my best friend and still my friend today.
That's amazing. You are from Ecuador and a Latina like us, like ourselves. And you moved to New York when you were 15 years old, right? Seven years old. Yeah. So you grew up in New York, basically, right? In Queens, yes. Right? Yeah. Do you think that this helped you to be in the right place at the right time? To put you in the spotlight? I mean, do you think that your life was going to be the same living Ecuador? I ask you that because we are from Brazil and sometimes we feel that we are not seen, you know?
If I would have been raised in Ecuador, I would be like my cousins. And I would be married with children and a housewife and not have an art career like that. There is no voice for women down there yet. There is no career paths like what I have here. I was raised an American and I have American values that are different than the way the women are raised in my country. The Catholic religion, Christianity, has crushed any hopes of freedom or liberty or equality for the women. So until that is overcome, I'm afraid that my life would have been very, very different in Ecuador. I go back there and I feel like a tourist. The way I carry myself, the way I speak, the way I look a man straight in the eye when I talk to him is very American. The women in my country are subservient. They look down, they bow down, and they let the men take control always. And they don't have a voice of their own. So it is very sad that way. And I'm grateful that I did not stay in that third world country where it's still, culturally 20, 30 years behind what America is. And I was brought up with American values, believing I could be anything and I could do anything. Nothing can stop me.
I understand you. Yeah, we are here very, I think that we have also the influence of Catholic Church here in Brazil, of course, but I feel that we also have this strong, powerful, like you said, eyes of the world, and I feel that sometimes even that we're living in a more globalized world, still Americans from United States and Europeans are more seen in the artistic circuit than the Brazilians, and there's a lot of Brazilians, of course, that we know that got there, but the girls here, sometimes they feel like if I were in the United States, perhaps people were going to see me more easily than from here, So do you have a tip about that from people that are not living in the United States? What to do to make sure people see us?
I don't know what you mean by see.
I mean by see their art, by understand they exist, I know that we have now the Instagram, the internet, and all these tools that help us to make them they recognize. But I mean, in the sense that sometimes I feel that the art circuit just see the ones that they are more close, to them. So I don't know. It's just a feeling that I have here, and I want to share with you. And perhaps you can help us. It's like a brainstorm. You can help us with insights.
I don't know how you get to be seen. I don't do PR, public relations. I have no idea. Look, so you want to get attention. You have to make the newspapers, you have to make the press in a good way. Not like it took 5 police officers to bring you down. Not like that. In a good way. So you have to make a stir. You have to learn how to do publicity. So you don't wait for opportunities to come knocking on your door. You make the opportunities. You find a big wall. You make that happen. and get the attention from the newspapers and the television and stuff like that. You learn how to market yourself, learn how to sell yourself, learn how to make a stir. So when I arrive in some place, because I am already famous, the newspapers and the television, they come to me. So you guys have to make an event. So do a charity thing, do something good for something else. Artists coming together to raise money and paint a beautiful wall, to save a school, save a church, on old people's homes, some charity, some needy something, and you guys help out. So you donate the artwork, donate all the money, make an event, bring some music, things like that. I don't know how else you can do that. So in other ways is you learn how to submit your artwork to big museums and galleries and such like that. You bang on their door. This is my artwork. How do you submit it? You have to, sometimes they have deadlines, one time a year. Other times they receive artwork all the time from artists that want to show here. So push up, be aggressive. You have to stand up and scream loud. They're not going to see you if you're a wallflower waiting back there with your beautiful artwork. Look how talented I am. Look how brilliant I am. No, you have to be in their face. And this is one thing that hip hop has taught us. You don't wait to be invited. You don't, it's not may I please. I am taking your stuff. I'm going to paint on that because it's standing still and you're not going to stop me. So, be aggressive, be pushy, look a man straight in the eye and say, I'm amazing. I'm even better than you are. So, you got to give me a chance. So that's the way I got by as a kid. I would insult them. I would be aggressive. I'd be pushy and I'd get my foot in the door because I'm loud and I'm the first one to show up on time too, be in front of all the boys and show them that, you're as good as them. It doesn't matter that you were born a girl or anything. So that's the way. You have to learn to get attention that way. Scream.
That's the way you do it. How do you feel the urban arts market has evolved over the past 40 years? Which direction do you think we are going now? Like you saw this whole thing, evolving around yourself.
It isn't just that I see around myself. I study history, and everything that is underground goes above ground. It gets diluted and it gets marketed to the masses. And this goes back centuries. Come on, everything that is cool and hip and underground, it comes above ground and it gets sold. So we expected it. We expected this to happen. Now, what is good is that there's a lot of graffiti writers that have gone on to work in the different fields, in film, in fashion, in all sorts of art things that, we maintain the integrity of our style. We don't just allow graphic designers to steal our style and run off with it because then it doesn't look real. So we get hired by advertising agencies, film companies. We do all of that. So it's a good thing. It has given art opportunities to many different artists, not just gallery exhibits and museums and such, but graphic designing, web design, like I said, fashion, even architecture and sculpture and photography. It's all good. It's all there. So this was just a training.
Great. I share again my screen so we can continue about that. I love this picture as well. Can you tell us a little bit about
I'm wearing a t-shirt that the statement is by Jenny Holzer. She is one of the top American artists ever. And I did some collaboration paintings with her in the early 80s, mid 80s. And this is one of her truisms. A truism is like a one sentence statement that packs a punch, that has a lot of power. And this one is abuse of power comes as no surprise. And I'm standing in Times Square in New York City, posing for the photo. Yeah. This is a self-portrait of myself with a few of my paintings. They had been sold and they were all being sent to Italy. So I had to take one last photo of me with that as a request. In Europe, they always want proof that the artist did the paintings. So this is my photo. This is one of the collaborations I did with Jenny Holzer, and it is hanging in the Museum of Modern Art in New York City. And when I was a teenager painting trains, I never imagined in a million years that my painting would be sitting in the Museum of Modern Art. And there is a portrait of myself doing a commissioned job for a place in the Bronx, a community center. Another wall down at Wynwood Walls in Miami. I traveled the world and paint murals all over. This takes maybe about 2 or 3 days to paint. This was for the Denver Botanical Gardens. I got to put my work inside of a garden, which is amazing how much people are willing to pay me to do this that I said is very easy to do, very simple. This is a work in progress, all with brush. I not only use spray paint, but I do work with brush. In New York, half the year is very cold and we can't spray paint outside. So I developed my brush techniques, and this is one of my paintings that is in progress. Here I am with some more of my paintings. I did a collaboration with La Vie Estelle with Lancome. They did a perfume bottle with my logo on it and my artwork. So this was a photo shoot for Lancome. I've got to do all kinds of exciting projects. I'd like to hear some questions from the girls.
I will. My last question is that you already exhibited at Whitney Museum, Brooklyn Museum, MoMA, Tate Modern. You also travel all over the world, like you said. You painted several enlarged murals. Is there still something that you want to achieve? I will. My last question is that you already...
This is a long shot, but in New York, there's more than 460 train stations all over the city. And they have an arts program where they commission artists to do mosaics with the little tiles, you know, all over the stations. And they have amazing, amazing work all over the subway stations, you know. And I would like to do one. I would like to do the laying down brick woman made out of the little mosaic tiles. And she stretches across the whole train station like that.
Oh, that would be amazing.
So that is an idea.
We want to see that. We definitely want to see that. Girls, now up to you. Who wants to do a question? Don't be shy. Go, Aline. Vai, Aline.
Bom dia, nossa, é uma honra.
Good morning. It's an honor to talk to you, Lady Pink. I also paint. I've been doing that for a long time. And for me, it was wonderful because I've also painted. Aline, let me just interrupt you for a moment.
And change for English. I believe Português, right? Carolina, o Mauro, quem estiver nos assistindo, a Lady tem que colocar no English ou no português para escutar as meninas falando? Alguém me responde?
Okay,
English.
try it again.
English. Sorry, Lady. English, please.
Okay, try it again.
Bye,
Hi, Lady. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. Lady Pink, so you're a great reference to us, graffiti artists, female graffiti artists in Brazil, because we didn't have social networks. So our social networks were magazines. So we had a lot of reference, a lot of trains and subway trains, and I even painted a few of them here. I did not follow that path too in Brazil, because here in Brazil it's very different. So I'd like to ask you, how do you do your work with these young people who now paint with you and they do projects with you? How does that work? I'd like to know a little bit about that.
Okay. I get an art education grant every year. They give me, I get money, and I choose schools to work with. I go into the schools and we do mural workshops. And at the end of the workshop, which is not very long, maybe 5 weeks, I go in one time a week. We work on the design for a big mural. And then with the students, we come out and we paint a big mural. I'm going to do that this Saturday, painting with the community, not only students, but some people are grown-ups. And I teach them how to paint their designs all with brush. We're not working with spray paint. That takes a long time to learn how to do it, you know. So it's all with brushes, and they all learn how to paint their designs big, 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 which is different than working on paper and such. So that is what I teach.
Obrigada.
Yeah. Okay.
Quem quer mais fazer perguntas? Vamos lá. Não se
Who else
acanhe.
would like to ask questions? Don't be shy.
Vai, Bárbara.
Go, Barbara. Where's Barbara? Barbara?
Oi.
Hello. I'd like Lady to please comment on. Hi. That's so beautiful. So I'd like Lady to comment on the police repression, if she has gone through a situation of police violence, and to say if she has tips on how to deal with that police brutality. I don't know if she knows, but in Brazil last week, a 24-year-old woman who was pregnant was shot because she was on the street. So for us who want to occupy the streets, this is a warning, really. So as a woman of color, I'd like her to comment a little bit on that. How is it to be on the streets, and if she has tips to whoever wants to be on that place to face this system, which is a genocide system, really.
Oh, okay. I don't have those experiences. I don't know how to address that. So I don't consider myself a woman of color until other people point it out to me. So I carry myself like a white woman. So the police will treat me that way. I've had raids on my house for no reason at all, but that is the graffiti police who are out to oppress us. They get a flimsy warrant, they come into my house, they take all my things, but there's no crime committed. But they can do this and hold your things for 1 year while they do an investigation, and then they have to give you your things back. They did this to me 2 times in 10 years. So that is the oppression I feel from the police, but I have had no violence to me. See, I behave like a lady, so they treat me like a lady. Understand, I don't behave like an animal, and then I treat them with respect. You know, you don't curse them out. You know, it's always yes, sir, no, sir. That's stupid stuff. You know this as a child. You behave. When they say stop, you stop. They say drop, you drop. Understand? You do not defy the police because they are the thugs with the guns. So you have to obey them that way. And, you know, then there is no problem. So if they want to put me in handcuffs, I put out my hands like this. And then, you know, they put it back here like that. But I pretend like I don't know how handcuffs are put on because I'm an innocent woman, see? I have talked my way out of a police precinct, out of a police car, talked my way out of handcuffs 3 times. So I don't get any violence treated like that. I saw a policeman put a gun to my husband's head, and he was a white man. And he's a white man. And that scared me. That scared me. But I don't know what tips to give you. I live in the country. I don't live in the city. New York City is not dangerous like that to be in the street where they're going to shoot you. So I don't have that problem. I don't know what to tell you, but then to be respectful to the police always, because they are the thugs with the guns. So you can just, you know, hope they don't kill you. I don't know. It's dangerous.
Obrigada, Bárbara. Letícia.
Thank you, Barbara. Leticia? Hi. Hi, first of all, I'd like to thank Lady Pink for being here with us and talking to us. That's very nice. I've been in the graffiti world for a year, and so I'm starting to get to know the history, and we talk a lot about you, Lady Pink. So it's so cool to have you here. I was reading an interview today earlier with a graffiti artist who's also pioneer here in Brazil, and one of her of the questions that were asked to her, actually one of the responses that she gave was that she said that a lot is being said about not having women with graffiti, but actually we do have women on graffiti. They were just silenced, just like in art history in general. Women are always silenced. But I've been starting in a group with female graffiti artists, and that's very cool. And I see that girls want to appear, they want to be seen a lot. And so I'd like to hear from you, Lady Pink, if you are able to realize a change in this scenario, women going to the forefront and not just being on the back front, behind boys and friends, and women actually occupying their place. And if you think that this is going to be like that and it's going to improve further on, I think that's it.
Okay. So during the 1980s, I was one of the only girls, but in the early 1990s, more girls started to come out. Girls were being made braver, stronger, bigger, faster, and they were not standing in a man's shadow in any way. So this has been going on for 30 years here. I don't know how it's been happening in Brazil, but it is very common now. There's many, many girls, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of girls, and they're not doing it because their boyfriend did it, and they're not standing behind any man's shadow. And so I'm not quite sure how it's happening down there, but it's just wonderful to see how there's hundreds and hundreds of girls all over the world, and they're so much braver. And if there is no longer a difference between artwork you see, you don't question, did a boy do that? Did a girl do that? Can a girl do that? Something so big? That is not even a question anymore. It's all the same artwork. The only difference between the boys and the girls now is that the girls still pee sitting down. That's the difference. Okay?
Obrigada, Letícia. Vou passar para Simone.
Thank you, Letícia. I will now pass the floor to Simone to ask a question. Simone, you're muted. Can you hear me now? Yeah?
Agora sim.
Yeah, there we go.
Não estamos.
No?
She's muted.
Okay.
Is that okay? Can you hear me now?
Is that okay? I think she's asking in English.
Hello, my name is Simone, and it's such a huge honor to be in front of you. Never in a million years I would imagine that I would have this opportunity. So I'm attending classes from Cabo Verde. It's a small island archipelago in Africa. There's like only 500,000 people. That's the whole population of the whole country. And I live in a capital, but it's very small for like street art standards. So it's really hard to just go on the street and make art. I usually wake up at 5:30 and go out and make very small caricatures around the city, something that I can do in like less than 5 minutes and just go. So because the police is always, and I do it alone because it's like in the whole country, the only other woman that I know that does graffiti in the streets is Gilda, who was here in the class, but we live in different islands. So we do it together when we visit each other in different islands. But other than that, we are on our own. So it's such a huge honor. I'm sorry.
So that's wonderful. I love hearing that. And that speaks about the sisterhood that we have around the world. There are still so few women around the world that we all have a sisterhood. So wherever you go, you have somebody, a girl, another sister that supports you. So when you come to the United States, you have sisters here, okay?
Thank
So
you.
tell me what your question is.
I wanted to ask, what are the materials that you use other than spray? Because you were saying that you use brush. So is it with acrylics or do you use oil paint?
No oil paints. Nobody has patience for oil paints. Oof. It's all acrylic paints for my fine art. But the piece behind me, I said it's a commission. The piece behind me is a commission by my assistants for a restaurant. And I've done that for 30 years. Commissions for commercial jobs, for restaurants and nightclubs and all businesses. But see, that we do with house paint, acrylic. And house paint has a life of maximum 50 years. So I am making these paintings so they will self-destruct in 50 years. I don't want this commercial work to survive forever. It's not my best work. It's not the best work, you know. Its job is a job. It pays the bills. I paid off my first house in 15 years. I now have 3 houses. I mean, I do good. I do good business. That is one way of success I have to mention to all you girls. That is 50% talent and 50% business. You must learn the side of business in order to prosper. You must learn all of that. So we did not learn this in the subway trains. We all learned this little by little by little. And again, supporting each other, asking each other for advice. How do I handle this job? How much money do I ask for that? And all of these questions, you support each other.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so that is painted on canvas?
It is on canvas, and they will install it inside the restaurant with staples, and then they put little wood molding along the edge, and it looks perfect.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. You're amazing.
Well, thank you.
Obrigada, Simone. Michele.
Thank you, Simone. Michelle now? Hi. Did it work? Hi, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, Lady Pink. It's unbelievable, the honor that I'm feeling just to listen to you. So I'd like to know which artists inspire you? Which artists feed your creative process, and what makes you feel leave these processes rich and intense? Not just the business and us as businesswomen of our own work, but also the source of this inspiration, because we're creating, right? So I'd like to hear a little bit about that. A little bit about the inspiration, since you are a source of inspiration to all of us. That's it.
Well, yes. And I have to say, I have many, many books of lots of artists. This even before the internet, always collecting art books since I was a child. So everyone inspires me, from Frida Kahlo to Lempicka and Georgia O'Keeffe. She is the #1 American artist, Georgia O'Keeffe. To these artists I did not know when I was writing graffiti until later I studied them on my own and learned. So I have inspiration comes from everything, not just other artists, but from everything, from films and life experiences, from video games, from television and the newspaper and internet. It comes from everything. It goes in here, gets churned up, and then we put out what's a vision. Sometimes a finished painting comes in a full vision, full color, like it's finished, and we just have to make it happen. Other times we build it little by little by little like this. But doing this for 40 years, the inspiration, I don't know where it has to come from. So I always start with a blank piece of paper, my sketch pad, then I bang into it a little bit, then I cry. and then something happens. I honestly don't know where I have to pull it out. So I sometimes think that we are channeling like dead artists. So I don't know why my hand is doing this or painting like that. It is just a dead artist. Somebody is channeling through my hand and making these works, and I'm just letting it happen. So I don't question it. I don't overthink it. I just flow with it. So you have to get into an alpha state and then just make creativity happen. But inspiration, girl, I don't know where it comes from. It's just from everything. You know, I get a new project and you have to invent things. It's easier to go to a job and be told what to do, and you know what has to be done. But it's harder to invent things, and we are all creative, and you have to invent in new things that have never been seen, never been done. It's next to impossible, but this is our job. So we must get to it and just power through.
Obrigada, Michele.
Thank you, Michelle.
Okay.
Oh, she just said thank you, I think. She's muted, but she said thank you. All right.
Okay.
Krista, can you hear me? Hi, lady. Good morning. It's an honor to have you with us. So, well, I'd like to ask you, it's a lot more to do with the path, you know, because I remember seeing Wild Style when I was very young. I watched it and I was like, oh, you know, I went out with my sister after watching the film, and then I went my home and I'd like to remake the scenes of the movie. And then, you know, I keep thinking about the thing that we tell our story, right? Because I see that for a long time, artists died and then their story was told, right? So if you think it makes sense, because they're producing so much, and you just talked about 40 years of production and that you're in many places and all, how is it for you to look back when you talk about your story, about your path, and to see that you're still writing? And I hope you have at least 100 years more to produce, at least, you know, doing a lot of things. How is that for you? Because when I think a lot about production, because, you know, we're always projecting and being projected. So how is that within your story of life of Lady as a whole? And thank you truly for being here with us.
Okay, well, in all honesty, I'm bored of speaking my own history. I have to speak all the time about it, so I'm really tired of talking about that. So, that's true. Always. So it's like I did one amazing thing as a teenager, and it's almost like when you're typecast for a TV show. You do one show and you're a legend for that, and then no matter what you do after that, nobody knows what you did, but they only want to know the one thing you did that made you famous, and you have to keep talking about that for 40 years. That's great, but I also did a lot of other work that's important and inspirational, and that's great too. But so wait, what was your question again? What was the question? Reflecting back.
Como que você pensa em contar a sua história mesmo?
How do you think about telling your own life story? Now I'm going to change a little bit, right? Because you said that you're a little bit bored of your life story. So now you have a desire to start to transform that, right? Because you are many other things. You did a lot of other things too. So how do you think of telling your story, telling about your path?
You know, I don't really look back. I just block it all out. I don't, you know, I'm long overdue to do a book, a couple of books. I try not to look back. I don't know. I don't reflect on what I've done. It's hard for me to believe that people think I'm famous. I'm just an artist doing my thing. I'm not, I don't feel famous until, you know, I'm surrounded by a lot of people and they make me feel different. So it's just weird that people make a fuss over my work. I'm just artist doing my thing, you know, struggling through. And no, I'm not still writing. You mentioned that. I only wrote graffiti for 5 years, way back, way back. I don't break the law. I don't have to do that. And like Simone was saying, she goes out and she paints all the time. It's easier to get permission and to do something bigger and more amazing. And then you give away your first mural for free, and then people will offer you money for that. But you know, I don't like to reflect on my life too much. I don't think I'm that interesting, but other people seem to think I'm interesting. So okay.
Obrigada, Prisca. Pink, do you already have a biography, a book that we can buy of you or not? Not yet.
No, because putting together a book requires a lot of work and somebody that has patience to write it, not me. I'm an artist, not a writer. So that is the problem there. And somebody that can, you know, it all has to be done in the computer now. It's just a lot of work. I just don't seem to have the time or the people to do this for me. So I don't know when it's going to happen.
Perhaps one day, because we want to buy it. Talking about digital, I'm gonna ask Valeria to ask her question. Valeria.
Oi, Lady.
Hi, Lady.
Hi.
I'm even nervous speaking here. You talked a lot about your manual process. I'd like to know, hand process. I'd like to know now if you also work with digital.
No. I am computer challenged. I don't do computer stuff. I have assistants that do that stuff. So all the work is laid out in Photoshop. Everything is whatever is done in the computer is done by other people for me. So I can't do everything. I am overwhelmed with projects and things. So I just keep my time to doing creative, and other people do the computer work, answering email, digital work. I'm computer stupid, so no.
Obrigada, Valéria.
Obrigada.
Jamaira.
Thank you, Valeria. Jamaira. Hi. Good morning, lady.
Good morning.
Good morning, all of the ladies here as well. So it's a great pleasure to hear from you. It's amazing, your work, the way you talk. And I'd also like to thank you for humanizing all of these feelings and all of this trajectory, all of this path. So my question is about consistency. We talk a lot about that with the class here with the girls. We talk about resiliency, we talk about being persistent, we talk about showing up, about working and being consistent. And you've been doing that for 40 years, more than 40 years. So it's all that you mentioned, you know, that your work was marked by specific things and people remember you for that. But there's also a history behind that, right? There's a human being who's you with all of the things that you've been through and all. So I'd like to know about that. I mean, not necessarily that you give us a tip for all of us with respect to consistency and all that, but to talk a little bit about this process, you know, that you, just like everybody else, because, you know, I compare a lot with marriage. We're going through such an instant world right now, everything's instantaneous, and we forget a bit how to practice consistency and hard work. So, you know, something more laborious. So I'd like to hear from you a little bit about that, about crises, about your process of being firm for so many years, doing what you love.
I have no idea what you're asking me. Consistency? What do you mean consistency? I run a mural I run a mural company. I've been a professional artist for 40 years. I don't know what you mean by consistency, girl. They never let me stop. There's the demand for the work is always continuous. I have no time to rest or stop. The job I do, I support 4 or 5 people. I can't stop. My husband works for me. Other people work for me. No, honey, just keep on. Go ahead and do your thing. Don't worry about this. So it's always consistent. You know, I don't know what you mean by that. I have discipline. You come into work and you work all day long. You know, it's not whenever I feel like it or when I'm motivated. When I make a promise to a client or I take a job, I keep the promise. You do what you say you're going to do on time. Artists have a long history of being flaky and emotional, and we don't do what we're supposed to do. And you know, you can't criticize us because we'll have a meltdown. And no. So graffiti writers, street artists are different. We're tougher. And we can change the work if that's what you want. You're paying for this. This is your job, you know. So you have to be a professional about things, not be an emotional bundle of nerves or I'm not sure what you mean, but I support other people. I take that seriously, my job. You know, I have tenants in apartments. I have to pay, you know, for things, and this is my job, this is my career. So I have to be consistent. Besides, I can't do nothing else. I'm an artist, so I have to make it work. Okay. I'm not sure if I answered you. Okay, guys, I have maybe five minutes left.
Yes.
Is that good?
Yes.
Okay.
So one question that one of the girls asked me here is, how do you do to commercialize your pieces? And you said you have a company, so you have a team that helps you, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So I am the master artist. I design the work, even when the graphic designer's putting it in and doing it in the computer, I'm still designing it and such. And then everybody else has to paint it. So exactly as it has been designed, we use a projector and we project the image, and everyone has to follow my directions. That is different when we're painting in collaboration next to each other. When my husband paints next to me and we're collaborating, he does his thing. I cannot tell him boo. He does his thing and we merge it together in the middle. But when I am the master artist and it is a paid job, everyone has to listen to me. So if I'm running a team of 4 or 5 guys and they all have to listen to me, I'm the boss. And that's the way it is. It's not just because it's my husband and he gets to be the boss. No, I designed it. It's my design, and everyone has to listen to me. So that is a professional commission. So you have to be open to listening to the client's vision. This isn't what I feel like painting. This is what they want. And sometimes it's something very stupid that I don't like, but it doesn't matter. I'm not here to pass judgment. I'm just here to do a job, paint the wall, take the money and go. And I never have to see them again, ever. Done, job. So,
great.
And this is what I am training them to do.
Okay. People in YouTube want to know if you already came to Brazil, and if you had the opportunity to paint here, would you come?
Yes, sure. I would love to come to Brazil.
You never came to Brazil?
No.
No. that's curious. Maybe we can invite you someday.
Sure, sure.
And another lady here is asking, are there any urban art festivals in the US that you recommend? And there are more, and that is more focused in female artists?
I'm not aware of any. I don't really know.
Okay. Usually you
don't-
go
I
to
don't- I don't really
festivals,
know.
street art festivals, more like Wingwood and right?
I only travel by invitation, so I don't really know that there's a festival going on until they invite me to some festival. There's a ladies' festival in October. I don't know where. They invited me to come to a ladies' festival in October. It could be Virginia. We have like 50 states. I don't really know where these things are happening. And then I charge money for appearing, just for showing up, and I charge more money if I have to paint. So festivals that have money can get me to show up. I don't go for free. I never work for free, ever, unless it's a charity. For charities, yes, you give it away for free, of course. But otherwise, I do not appear, I do not travel, I don't go anywhere unless they pay me to show up or to paint something. And the further away it is, the more it costs if I have to go. But that is important for an artist. You must know your value. You must know what you are worth and what you have to charge for everything. They will always try to get you to do things for free, always, always, always. So learn
Don't
business.
do that. And well, what's the final message that you want to leave to all the women artists that are watching us today? What's your final advice?
Is don't let anything get you down. Artists have to have thick skins and be brave and courageous. You're not going to get every opportunity you go for. You will get maybe half of the opportunities or less. So when you don't get it, don't let it crush you. Bounce right back up, go for the next opportunity, keep on going. So learn to hustle and be brave. Do not take the criticism from boys that tell you that it's terrible or you're a girl or you can't do this. Tell them to shut up and you just go and do your thing.
Thank you so much, Lady Pink, for being with us. This is amazing. We are all honored here and all, very emotional for your participation at WOO. And thank you everyone that is watching us as well. We see you in the next class. Thank you. Thank you for existing.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.